Good morning from mid-Wales. I'm about 15 miles east of the town of Aberystwyth. Today's story goes back to the 1850s, and it's the harrowing story of the Hughes family who lived in a remote cottage in these hills. It starts out as a happy story but ends in tragedy. In early 1856, parents Isaac and Margaret Hughes were living in a cottage called Nant with their son Hugh and daughter Hannah. Now, to tell their story, I'm going to walk to the location of the cottage, but later on I'll be coming back here. Just making my way to the cottage now. I'm going to be held up here for a while. There's a herd of sheep on the way. They were too scared to pass me, so I've come up this hill a little bit, and they're still a bit wary. Okay, they're passing now. Okay, the sheep have gone. That was quite handy actually. I got to talk to the farmer, and he's given me some additional information that I can put in the video. Back to the story of the Hughes family. I mentioned earlier that they were living here in early 1856, and at the time Margaret Hughes was expecting her third child, but in February of that year she gave birth to quadruplets. They were the first recorded quads in Wales and only the fifth recorded worldwide at that time. The family of four was now a family of 8. A local newspaper reported at the time that the mother and children are doing well. But within a month of the birth of the quads, 7 members of the Hughes family would be dead. It looks like it's going to be a little bit of a trek to get to the cottage. I don't know if you can see those trees on the top of the hills in front of us. Well, there's quite a large forest there, and just beyond that is what they call the green desert of Wales. It's an area of high ground that, well, basically it's the Cambrian mountains that go down the spine of Wales, and it's pretty much empty. People have got a very pleasant accent here. It's much softer than my accent. I've been walking for a while now. I think it probably takes at least an hour to get to the cottage from the main road. I usually prefer blue skies when I'm making these videos, but it seems kind of appropriate that it's overcast for this one, because it's such a sad story. Before I forget, I need to thank the Lost Minds channel for suggesting this video to me. So please do me a favour and go and check out their channel and subscribe to them. This gate plays a part in the Hughes story. Remember this gate? I'll mention it later on. This reminds me of that film First Blood. I'm on this forestry road now. I know it looks like I've got a cameraman with me today, but I'm actually getting some drone footage from a DJI Neo drone. It's the settings on it so it follows you about. If you want to buy one yourself, I'm planning to put an affiliate link in the description of this video. So if you are buying one anyway, please use that link to buy it. It will help me quite a bit. Nant Cottage is actually a boothie now, which is like a term for a shelter for hikers. It sounds like there's some lumberjacks operating in the distance somewhere. can actually see the cottage from here. I could attempt to go down there, but I don't want to slide and get injured. So I'll just keep going down this way, and I think I can turn to the right then and head towards the house. There's a mini waterfall here. And this is the cottage. Absolutely beautiful spot. It's a shame about the locking that's going on in the distance. I haven't seen any signs of life, so I think I'll knock on the door to see if anybody stayed there last night. There's you see a compost toilet just in front of me there, and the door's been left open on that. Just knocked on the door and stuck my head inside. Doesn't seem to be anybody here. Around the time of the birth of the quads, an illness had broken out in the cottage. It's believed there may have been either typhoid or influenza, but some people suggest it could have been cholera or even smallpox. First to die were two of the quads, baby Margaret and baby Catherine, and they died at only 4 days old. A week after baby Margaret and baby Catherine died, the other quads, Elizabeth and Isaac, also passed away from the illness. People in the area tried to help the family by leaving food dipped in vinegar, and they left that by the gates that I mentioned earlier. But by March the 1st, the older son, Hugh, had died at the age of 5. And he was followed by his father, Isaac, who died a few days later on March 6th, and he was 32 years old. The last to die of the illness was Hannah. She died on March 10th at the age of 3. Only the mother, Margaret Hughes, survived. Margaret Hughes is said to have been driven mad by grief, and she eventually took her own life. Some visitors to the cottage report sensing the presence of a kindly soul there. There's 3 bedrooms upstairs. This seems to be the largest one, so this must have been the bedroom of Margaret and Isaac Hughes. You can see there used to be a fireplace there, but it's been bricked up. Isaac Hughes must have died in this room. Another small bedroom here. And this one's slightly larger. Now I'm going to make my way back to where I started the video, to visit the graves of the Hughes family. Here's the compost toilet. Don't know why I've got the urge to show you this. Anyway, beautiful. I was just setting up to take a drone flight, and I saw something in the window, or I thought I saw something in the top left hand side window here. It was probably just the light hitting the window, but it got my heart racing. Okay, bit of a hike down to the graveyard now, although it should be easier going downhill. This is St John's churchyard, final resting place of the Hughes family. It's believed there was a religious site thousands of years before the church. And the reason they believe that is there's a number of these giant quartz rocks around the place. There's two of them, or at least two have been incorporated into the wall, like this one. To show you the other one. So these must have been like, they believe they might have been like part of a stone circle here. There's another giant one inside the graveyard, I'll show you that in a second. I have not seen that before. Look at these graves, these stones are in the shape of a coffin, or coffins. The graves of the Hughes family are just over here on the right. On the left here we've got the grave of Isaac Hughes, the father. Died 6th of March 1856 at the age of 32. He was buried with his son Hugh. He's a son of the above named, who died March 1st, 1856, aged 5 years. And then in the centre, the quads were buried together to the memory of 4 infants, children of Isaac Hughes, by Margaret, his wife. And then he lists the children. Margaret, born 17th of February 1856, died on the 21st of February. And the same for Elizabeth, died the same day. Then Catherine and Isaac underneath. I thought they died the same day, but Catherine died on the 22nd of February and Isaac died on the 28th of February. I'll come back to the bit underneath that's in Welsh. I'll give you a translation for that. But first I'll mention Hannah was buried on her own here on the right. She was the last member of the family to die. Hannah, daughter of the aforesaid Isaac and Margaret Hughes. She died 10th of March 1856, aged 3 years. Just go back to this part. The translation would be, from the same womb, the same day we came. From the same breasts we suckled, in the same grave we lie together. On the same day we'll rise again. Because Catherine Hughes had taken her own life, the vicar refused for her to be buried with her husband and her children here. back then when somebody took their own life, usually they would be buried in a churchyard facing the opposite way to the other graves. But I guess this must have been at the discretion of the vicar. Even if the person who had taken their own life were allowed to be buried in a churchyard, on the day of the funeral they wouldn't let the coffin come through the gates of the church. They would have to pass the coffin over the wall. Just on the side of the church here, you've got this like a chain hanging down. It leads up to the bell. So I guess on the day of the funerals of the Hughes family, this bell would have been rung. I'd love to pull on the chain to hear the bell, but it's probably disrespectful to do so, so I won't.